Hey guys, what's up? In today's video I want to talk about my most anticipated games of 2016. It is quite a long list because 2016 promises to be a quite exciting year for gaming. Loads of releases, loads of exciting titles from small indie games to big AAA games. There's so much stuff, so let's get right into it. Just as kind of a disclaimer, obviously there are many more games. These are not all games that will come out in 2016. These are just my favorites and the games that I really want to play in this coming year. These are not in any particular order, I just threw them together randomly, kind of. So let's start off with Uncharted 4, obviously only coming to the PS4 exclusively. April 26 is the release date, so it's not far off anymore. And I mean, there's not much we have to say about this. Uncharted is and will always be Uncharted. Just one fun story, I think, I don't know if you know this, but VG247, this video game website, they went to a convention, I don't know if it was Comic-Con or something, and they played the Uncharted Remastered Edition there, kind of as a preview. It must be a while ago, obviously, now since it's out. And then they came back and wrote a whole article about that they played Uncharted 4 and that it's basically just more of the same and doesn't even look that good. So that's just a small side anecdote about like failures in game journalism. But Uncharted 4, I really love to play it. I don't own a PS4, so I might have to borrow the one from the office. I did that with Uncharted 2 and 3, which I still had to catch up on. I haven't finished 3, but 2 was awesome, and I played about 2/3 of 3, which also was awesome. So I'm sure Uncharted 4, and also look at all the trailers, it just looks fantastic. So I'm sure it's going to be a great game. Next on my list is Tom Clancy's The Division. It still does not have a definite release date. If you remember, we've seen the first trailer for this game in like E3 2012. I don't think it was 2012, but it's a long time ago that we've seen the first trailer for this game, and everyone's waiting. Everyone wants to see what it actually is and where it's going. And all the latest news that we got about the game were quite negative, actually. I don't know if you heard it, but there was like an insider who spoke out recently, who left Ubisoft and was working on the game, and he said the game is just in an absolutely terrible condition. And I would imagine that's why they don't really set a release date yet, because from what I've heard is that they really try to create kind of a complete new engine and a new editor that allows the designers on the game to really create very organic looking environments just by basically dragging and dropping items, and they were really trying to come up with a new way to quickly design a level that looks like someone worked on it for 2 years. I don't know if that experiment failed or if that's still in the mix where that went. It's just something I heard about 1.5 years ago in a podcast, but the latest that I've heard was basically the downgrade scandal, if you want to call it a scandal. But I made a video about it just after this year's or last year's now E3, where we saw the gameplay and it just didn't look great. You know, I mean, do you remember we saw the first Division gameplay trailers and it just looked fucking awesome. Like, it just was mind-blowing. The amount of detail was just awesome. And then the latest video just looked a bit shit, and like there has been a massive downgrade. So it wouldn't be the first downgrade that happens with Ubisoft, but it really remains to be seen. But basically at this point, I just still want to play the game. I just want to see where they took it and whether it really is in such a terrible, broken state. So to be honest, it is announced to come out in 2016, but I'm not entirely sure that's really gonna happen. Next game on my list, No Man's Sky. I don't need to say much about it. It's scheduled for June 2016, except maybe that I feel, listening to podcasts, watching videos, that in recent months the excitement has calmed down a little bit about this game. When it was first announced and when the guy who makes the game showed the gameplay demo at E3, and he just showed this infinite amount of galaxies, everyone was still really hyped up. But now we've seen like a few demos where he visited IGN and a few other studios and just showed them the game, and it just seems like, while it's cool that you can fly down the planet and that there are an infinite amount of planets and animals and stuff and everything's like randomly generated, I think a lot of people are just wondering, what are you gonna do in this game, right? I mean, I'm really excited about it, but the question is, how long will this last, this excitement? And I've got a little bit the feeling, looking at these gameplay demos, that you're gonna play it and after like 6-7 hours, you're just like, yeah, alright, seen it, you know, the animals start to repeat itself, just having a slightly different pattern and color, and you go to another planet, there's just not much to do, really. You know, if No Man's Sky would be kind of a vast open world MMO type of thing, a bit like Star Citizen or something, where you can play with your friends and co-op and visit planets and kill big animals, and you actually have missions and stuff. And if there would be content like that, I would be really excited about this. But with what they've shown us recently, I kind of lost my excitement, and I feel quite a few other people did as well. Now, the next one is one that you might not have heard about. It's called Astra Nia. So the name is kind of a mixture between astronaut and engineer, and the game looks really, really cool. If you haven't seen anything of it, go to YouTube and just watch a trailer. I don't want to link, because there's so many games, I don't want to link all the trailers in the description. But it seems to be kind of a mixture between Minecraft, where you can shape your own environment, and No Man's Sky, because it has a vast universe with loads of planets, apparently. It really has like strong cues to Journey, the PlayStation exclusive, but also Kerbal Space Program, because you can see in the trailer that they are engineering different parts, putting them together on these planets. I have no idea what this game exactly will be about, but what I've seen in the trailers, it looks really, really exciting. It's from a small studio called System Era. They're based in Seattle, and the game is actually going to come out only on PC. Next game on my list is Dead Island 2. It doesn't have an exact release date. And the latest news we heard about it were a bit sad. If you remember, I think Techland gave the job of developing this game to Jager Entertainment, which is a German game developer, and they failed somehow with the development. Nobody knows exactly what happened behind the scenes, but the development was taken from them, or they gave it up. So the game is kind of hovering in the air at the moment, and like I said, it doesn't have an exact release date, so I'm not entirely sure we're going to see it in 2016. I sure would love to see it, because I love Dead Island 1. I know it's a game, where like opinions differ vastly. Some people hated it and thought it was the worst game of all time, and I really loved it. Actually finished it twice, once alone and once in co-op with my friends. So it was a great game, and I'm pretty sure like Dead Island 2 is going to be awesome as well, at least for me, if they have co-op in it. I love the setting it's going to happen in, the whole California, Los Angeles, beachy type of environment. So it's definitely one that I look forward in 2016 if we get it. Well, let's see about that. Next one on my list, Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that's probably on everyone's list, because the trailer they showed at E3 just looked insanely awesome. This weird future sci-fi, but then Stone Age approach, where you shoot with bow and arrow, but at the same time you have giant mechanical dinosaurs. Nobody knows what the fuck exactly is going on in this game. The downside is that it is PS4 exclusive, and it's just such a shame, because I'm a PC player. I'd love to play it, but hey, I'm probably gonna watch a let's play or something like that. Again, the game has no exact release date as of right now. Next game on my list is Firewatch. Most people of you have probably heard about Firewatch by now. It has a very, very beautiful art style. It's kind of a first-person mystery adventure game, I would say. I mean, I've just seen the trailer, so you can't really see what it is. It plays like kind of in a rural area of Wyoming. So you're in a forest, and you're kind of the park ranger or something that has to take care of this kind of forest area. But then all kinds of mysterious things happen, and from what I could see from the early gameplay that is up on YouTube, it looks like this game might get very dark at some point. So it has a great atmosphere, and it seems to really encapsulate some kind of big mystery. You could, for instance, really imagine that suddenly there is like an alien plot happening, and you start to see weird lights hovering through the forest that you're in at night, and you have to find out what's all behind it. It really feels like something like that. So I really love these kind of stories, and also I really look forward to Firewatch. That's coming to PlayStation 4, Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. So that's great. It comes to every platform except the Xbox One. Sorry for that. Next game on my list, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. By the way, I don't want to hate against Xbox. I really have no problem with Xbox just not coming to that platform. Deus Ex Mankind Divided, like that is, for me personally, one of my most anticipated games of 2016. It's scheduled for August 23rd, 2016, which is great, because that's one day after my birthday, which is on the 22nd. And I'm mainly excited for it because I loved the previous Deus Ex game so much. It was a nice mixture between a shooter, a role-playing game, an adventure, and it had like just a beautiful story that was brought to life so nicely, about the rights and wrongs of augmenting people, replacing limbs or even parts of your brain with machine parts, and only to be faster, smarter, more clever. It had a very deep narrative, and I enjoyed that so much. So my main reason, I think, why I'm excited about this game, because I want to see where this goes. What's the next chapter of this kind of dystopian future vision that they brought to life with the previous game. So Deus Ex Mankind Divided, absolutely awesome. I'm sure it's going to be great. That is, I think, probably my most anticipated game, I would say, at the moment. Home Free is the next game on my list. That is coming to Mac, PC, and PlayStation 4. Now, if you haven't seen it, again, go to YouTube, watch a trailer. In a nutshell, it seems to be kind of a low-poly adventure game in which you play a dog that is lost in a randomly generated city. So I think your owner, the dog's owner, just places you on a sidewalk, and he just, tucks your head and then walks off. And you wait there, hoping he would come back as a dog. But then nothing happens and he doesn't come back, so you're on your own and you have to make friends, you have to discover the city, and you simply have to find a way to survive, just make a living as a dog in a big randomly generated city. It's a great concept, it looks really cool, and I just can't wait to play these games that really explore new ways of playing games nearly, right? Like breaking with conventional concepts and all that, and Home Free seems to be a concept that really does that in a quite clever, beautiful, and engaging way. So yeah, Home Free, like I said, Mac, PC, and PlayStation 4. Again, not for the Xbox One, which is a shame. Next game on my list is the Alan Wake successor, directed, I think, by Sam Lake. Quantum Break, it's called. The new game by Remedy Entertainment and published by Microsoft Studios. Now, it looks great. It looks really, really beautiful. And this actually, speaking of Xbox One, it is an Xbox One exclusive game. But obviously, because it is the successor to Alan Wake, expectations are really high. I have to be honest, I played Alan Wake and I was a little bit disappointed, but simply because I expected so much more from this game. It was a good game and it was fun to the end, but I felt like they missed a few opportunities, for instance, in terms of making this game really, really spooky and all that. And I feel with Quantum Break, they don't even try to go down that route. They don't try to be spooky, which is good because it doesn't promise that, so they don't have to deliver on that end. It seems to be much more about, stopping time, going forward. I don't know exactly what the game will be. It seems to me like they're keeping it quite under wraps. Maybe they don't know themselves at this point, who knows. But yeah, like I said, expectations are really, really high. And if you own an Xbox One, this is definitely a game that you should get in 2016. What I've seen so far looks really, really cool. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, scheduled for May 24th. So also not far off. It's coming to all platforms, which is great. But yeah, it's basically going to be another Mirror's Edge game. And I was a little bit confused because at last year's E3, everyone was really expecting proper gameplay. And then all they showed was more kind of a small tech demo, which was happening in a map that was apparently only set up for this demo. It was all a bit weird. And I'm quite curious how they're going to elevate from the previous game, because that's like, what, 6-7 years or something? I didn't look it up, but when did the last Mirror's Edge game came out? That seems like forever. So now it's really time to, if you bring out a Mirror's Edge game, to really put it to the next level and come up with a few clever ways how you can elevate the gameplay and make it more interesting. Dishonored 2, also no exact release date yet. I would assume it's coming quite late in 2016. It's the next chapter of Arcane Studios' steampunk stealth adventure, and I really enjoyed the first one. I thought Dishonored 1 was great, especially the art style was brilliant. Everything had kind of a watercolor look to it, I felt. And it was just beautiful. It played very well. It was running very smooth. Everything was great with this game. However, as I played through it, I felt that towards the end of it, it kind of lost its excitement a little bit. Quite in the beginning, you're really drawn into the story. You're drawn into this weird steampunk version of London or whatever it is. And it just was great in terms of the narrative. And then towards the end, it nearly became like a celebration of the mechanics, right? And you just enter a map and you you know, you have your set of mechanics, and you just look for ways how you can apply them and how you get through the map. At least that's how I experienced it. So maybe, hopefully, in Dishonored 2, they're going to address these things and maybe create an even more engaging story that unfolds as the game goes on. Because, you know, I can't even tell you what happened in the last half of Dishonored 1, and I played it, so it wasn't that memorable, I guess, is what I'm saying. And then, obviously, one of the biggest games, most anticipated games of the last 25 years, I nearly want to say, The Last Guardian. Finally, last year's E3, we saw a live sign of this game and actually get quite a lengthy gameplay demo. It doesn't have an exact release date yet, and with its history of being delayed again and again, and you know, with it coming from the PlayStation 3, I only believe that this game will come out in 2016 once I really see it on the shelves and once people have it in their hands. I have my doubts. I somehow think they're gonna play around with it and make sure that it really, really works and that it's a really, really good game. I mean, we all know who's behind this game, and these guys are really, really anal when it comes to finessing games and making them good and just making sure that everything works before the game is released. So I personally have my doubts that we're gonna see it in 2016. If we do, great. But I'm not doubting that the game will ever come out. It will definitely come out, but when? This is a different question. Another game that I'm really, really excited about is Doom. It doesn't have an exact release date. When they showed the demo at E3, completely blew my mind. Like, it looked so awesome. Opinions differ on this one as well. A lot of people said it's so stupid, especially in Germany. You had like a massive media echo of people like, does this game need to be so violent? It's the chainsaw, why is it so violent? And it just makes me facepalm, this kind of stuff, because this is a Doom game, okay? Doom is about violence. It's about exaggerated violence. It's going so far that it nearly has a comical character to it. And while the last Doom was much more about exploration and stealth and all that, which didn't really seem to fit into the overall story of the brand Doom. It really feels like that with this new game, at least from what we've seen now, they really try to go back to where Doom came from originally, which is nearly like a comically violent single-player campaign and then like an arena-based multiplayer that's attached to it. So I think that's great, because both of these things is just something I really want to play. I want to play this really violent single-player, and I want to fight against my friends in like a really nice, well-thought-through arena shooter. Excellent. Doom, definitely on top of my list of the games that I want to see. Now, the next one is also kind of up in the air. We don't know if we're going to get it. It's scheduled for December 2016, and that is Mass Effect Andromeda. Obviously, highly anticipated. Everyone wants to see where they're going to take the Mass Effect brand now after the story of Shepard has ended. But December 2016, to me personally, sounds like there will be a delay into 2017, because if they would be confident that they can finish the game in this year, they would definitely say, you know, whatever, third quarter of 2016 or something. But by saying December, it really feels like they are pushing it back as far as they can, and then they will delay it another 3 months or something. We will see. But hopefully we get it this year. And yeah, Mass Effect, I'm really excited about it. The third game wasn't that great, but the second game completely blew my mind, and the first one was all right, I would say. So I'm quite curious now with all these assets and this universe, this really vast and lively universe they created, where they're going to take that. And from what I heard, we're going to see a completely new galaxy. So that's pretty exciting. I can't wait for that. Hitman, scheduled for March 11th, 2016. And that's cool, because that's not far off, right? That's just a bit more than 2 months away from now. So yeah, Hitman, I really want to see where they take it. Hitman Absolution was okay, but really not more, you know, as kind of a hardcore Hitman fan who played all the previous games. It tried to do many things differently, and it was a bit too much, and I didn't enjoy it that much. But the new game, from what we've seen in the trailers, it just looks like they really came up with cool locations like this fashion show in Paris that we've seen, and it seems like there's again this very flexible environment that allows for many different options how to tackle an objective, and that's really what I want. I want like really fun creative environments. Till this day I can't forget like this crazy SM party in this slaughterhouse, or the Christmas party that they hosted up in the Antarctic somewhere with all like football celebrities there, and it was just a crazy place to explore this insane, super expensive luxury Christmas party in the middle of nowhere. So these locations are cool. They make the game exciting, and then if the environment is flexible enough to do loads of different things with it and address your objective in many different ways, that's awesome. That's what I want, and it seems like that Square Enix and IO Interactive really understood that that's what it's about, and hopefully with the new Hitman they're going to bring it back to kind of the spirit of the original series and bring that to life in an interesting way. Now the next one is one that you also might not have heard about. It's called Routine. It's coming from Mac and PC, and it's a little bit like Alien Isolation. From what I've seen in the trailer, it seems to be kind of an abandoned base horror puzzle game or something like that. So you're in this abandoned space base, and it has a great atmosphere. You're just wandering around as you did in Alien Isolation, and then there seem to be weird robots attacking you. And it has a great atmosphere. It seems to be very driven by narrative and exploration. And that's just something I really loved in Alien Isolation. That was just awesome, that it was not a shooter, that at very few points in the game you actually have a gun and you run around shooting things. It's not what the game is about. The game is about exploration. It's about the right timing, and I just love when people explore new ways of making games, and I think this is a great example for that. I said it before. Now, Far Cry Primal is actually not a game that I would put on this list. I'm not too excited about it, especially now that we're getting yearly Far Cry releases. It seems like it is exciting that they're taking it back to the Stone Age and that they want to give it a kind of a new skin, but I'm pretty sure overall the game is going to be just as the other Far Cry games. So I just put it on here to avoid comments of you guys writing underneath saying, oh, you didn't put Far Cry on there. And if you're excited about it, that's great. I just don't really care anymore, to be very honest. However, a game that I do really care about and that I'm really looking forward to in 2016 is Persona 5. I know that many people don't really understand what JRPGs are all about, but this is kind of a special case to me because I didn't know anything about the Persona series, and then I played Persona 4 Golden on my Vita, and it was awesome. Like, literally brilliant. I'm not joking. I didn't know what to expect. I really had no idea what a JRPG really is all about and what I can do, but it was just so much fun. It contained so much amazing storytelling and had really deep and lovable characters, and it really was like a trip to Japan. You switch your PS Vita on and you are in this completely different environment. Very, very powerful. Persona 4 Golden was awesome. If you haven't played it, I really recommend you do that. But obviously, since I played it, I'm really excited to see where they're going to take Persona 5. Unfortunately, it does not have a final or exact release date at this point. XCom 2 also has to be on the list. Not that much I can say about it. I didn't play the first game too much. Everyone loved it and really hyped it up, and I played it a little bit. Couldn't really get into it. I think these kind of top-down, turn-based tactical shooters are just not really my cup of tea, but I can understand why people are excited about it, and even the part that I played from the previous game was fun, don't get me wrong, it just wasn't really for me. But the release date for XCOM 2 at the moment, I'll probably they stick to that, is February 5, 2016, so not far off. You can see it already, pre-order it on Steam and all that, so it's definitely coming very soon. And this actually concludes my list. I'm sure there are loads of games that I missed, and I'm sure that you have your own games that you can't wait to play, so you can leave all those down in the comment section below. But I quickly want to lose a few words on kind of trends of the last year versus this year and the previous years. Now, one thing that I'm really happy to observe as a trend is that it seems like this whole open world zombie survival game wave is finally over. In the past, we've seen loads of different clones, from Ark to DayZ to H1Z1 and Rust. And, while I really liked these games and I thought the concept is brilliant, it just came to a point where I was like, okay, that's it. You know, we don't need to do more of this for now. Think about the concept, like how can we create DayZ 2.0, right? Like how can we do something that actually takes this concept to a next level and stop just repeating it over and over again, because it felt to me like that was the point that we got to. So I'm quite happy to see that that wave seems to be over, and I'm sure people are working behind closed doors on games that follow in these footsteps, but until now we don't have any definite successors for these games, and that's a good thing. One thing that confuses me slightly, and I made many videos about that in the past as well, is where is the VR killer game? 2016 is supposed to be the year for virtual reality goggles. We're gonna get PlayStation VR, we're gonna get the Vive, we're gonna get Oculus Rift. Where are the games for this? I mean, yeah, we get loads of compatible games, and everyone's like, yeah, you can also play this on PlayStation VR, but where are the killer 10 applications that are only dedicated to VR? I mentioned this so many times before, but everyone knows that new technology or gadgets stand and fall with the software that comes with it. If there are no games for VR, it will already fall down the cliff before it even has started. So at this point, we are so close to the release of these hardware units. Where are the games? I can understand that we're now getting a few more games and that Sony has actually opened a dedicated studio to work on these titles, but I haven't seen anything, you know what I mean? And the games that I have seen, to me, are not killer apps. They're just okay games that look alright. Quite often, actually, they are more like tech demos than real games. So that's something that I really miss on this list. Like, where are the killer VR games where I'm saying I really, really want to play this? Another trend that I noticed, but I guess that's a trend that goes through all the years, is just that there are so many exclusives. You know, there are PC exclusives, there are PlayStation exclusive, Xbox exclusive, and I mean, I mentioned it before, it is just crap. I hate it. Like, I want to see every game on every platform. I mean, yes, if you have an Uncharted game, obviously that's a PlayStation brand, you know, they're completely producing this brand, and it makes sense that that is a PlayStation exclusive game. But other games, like for instance Horizon Zero Dawn, and I know that, you know, it's published by Sony Computer Entertainment and all that, and it makes sense to put it on the PS4 exclusively, but it just sucks. Like, why not bring this game to every platform? Give it to everyone, you know. Don't try too hard to sell your console to other people. I mean, come on, PlayStation 4 is so successful, they already sold so many units. You really don't need to now turn games like this that are really anticipated and everyone wants to play it only on your platform, so people are forced to buy your console, and it just feels wrong to me. And it's just all about politics, you know, and getting most exclusives on your platform, and that's how we promote our console. It's just shit. I just don't like it. It feels wrong, and I hope that in the future we get less exclusive titles, but I doubt that will happen. However, guys, I'm sure you have your own most anticipated games. I'm sorry if they weren't in this list, and if you think, oh my god, how could he forget this one game that I'm waiting for? You know, there are so many more. I couldn't put all of them in. This video is already way too long, so I broke it down to this list that I went through now. Feel free to leave any of the games that you want to see or you want to add to the list down in the comment section below. I'd actually be really excited to hear them. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, you know, share the video with your friends, all the good stuff would be very much appreciated. Otherwise, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.